How's it going, laser Bruce? I'm Bobby Sixkilla, and welcome to Sound of Drop, Fall into Poison. From now on, I'm just going to call it Sound of Drop. This is a visual novel I've been planning to cover for fucking ages. It came out ages ago. But I'm kicking off some of these really short ones. This isn't really short, but it's reasonably short, you know, when compared to, you know, I don't know, Double or Sekimaya or Virtue's Last Reward or something like that. So it's like 4 to 6 hours, something like that. Anyway, but I'm very interested to get into it because it looks really good, although it did have a warning saying it has excessive violence and grotesque imagery, and, well, I don't know how many of you know, but I did try to record Song of Saya before this, and that did not go well, so I'm a little bit nervous now, to be honest, but let's jump in and see how it goes. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I hope it doesn't wreck my brain. The whole water theme makes me immediately think of Ever 17. Before she realised it, the girl was standing before an imposing door. The girl occasionally came to Manten Aquarium alone. She watched the manta rays, she watched the jellyfish, and finally she decided it was time to go home. Where is this? She had her doubts, but there should be nothing else here except the aquarium. She assured herself that she had probably wandered off into a side path. The door before her had a large padlock hanging from it. Just as she had heard, it was unlocked and merely dangled there. The girl drew in a breath. Being locked would usually mean that it was a place she shouldn't enter. Being open just meant that a staff member had forgotten to lock it, so going in was out of the question. Her curiosity piqued. She was past the point of persuasion. Her imagination ran wild and her mind raced at the prospect of what might lie beyond the door. Just for a little bit. She opened the door and saw lots of glass tanks, several types of fish hailing from the deep seas, from a football fish and oarfish to pelican eels and barrel eyes were swimming about. Why isn't this an exhibit? She thought it over, wondering why this would be in a closed-off area. Behind her, the door shut on its own. The girl spaced out, staring at the deep-sea fish swimming about. It would leap from the tank and swim in mid-air. The entirety of this room was the fish in their ocean. Though it was an unnatural occurrence, the girl treated it as quite normal. Wasn't there originally a deep-sea fish booth that was shut down? She suddenly remembered at that moment her surroundings were dyed a deep red. The water in the tanks, the fluorescent lights, all of it was red. The girl's vision also became red. When she opened her eyes, the girl was in the back of her own room. It was well into the night. She couldn't remember how she'd gotten home after all that. But more importantly, she had a bad feeling about something else. Isn't it red here? It isn't red here. She became aware of how hard it suddenly was to breathe. No matter how hard she gasped, she was unable to get oxygen into her body. Like the fish who couldn't breathe anywhere but in the water, she couldn't breathe unless she was inside that red colour. She was convinced. On impulse, she threw open the window, leaned out and thrust a hand outside. She couldn't inhale the wind flooding her room. She could only smell its milky, unpleasant scent. More. At that moment, the girl's body was tossed into the air. For just a second, her body seemed to float like a fish in the sea. Her room was on the 12th floor of her apartment building. In her fading consciousness, the girl watched her blood flow endlessly from her body. It's red. Only then could she breathe. Now everything would be fine. The girl smiled. The full moon in the night sky smiled too. Like in Soul Eater. I hope. Drip, drip. The sound of falling drops. The moon was concealed behind the clouds and all of the lights in the town were covered in water. The sound of it the only thing left to resonate. She couldn't tell whether it was hot or cold, merely that the humid air was encircling her. Drip, drip. Wherever they were falling to, wherever they were coming from, the drops just continued to trickle out. That single drop. I stopped it with both hands. The sound of that solitary red drop. There's not a lot of backgrounds going on at the moment. Everything is red. Oh, yay. This looks happier. I like it. Okay, that was an interesting transition. Or at least there's an urban legend that goes like that. Talking about Manten Aquarium again? That's your new thing, isn't it? While stuffing her lunch into her mouth, Tamagawa Himeno spoke, her eyes sparkling. I had no idea which point in the story got her so excited. That's right. Isn't this the scariest part? That the girl jumped to her death smiling after coming back from Manten Aquarium? It's pretty bad. Yet you don't seem the least bit scared, Himeno. That's not true. I've got chills running down my spine. Someone who's got chills running down his spine wouldn't be eating a pastry so cheerfully. And hey, that's my meatball. During a break in the conversation, Himeno stole a side dish from my boxed lunch. This minced meat from growing calves and little piglets is the best. Why do you have to put it like that? Jeez. Why'd you have to make me lose my appetite? I'll give you the rest of it. Alright, I'll take it. Himeno takes the rest of the meatballs from my lunch with amazing rhythm. The rest that I, Nakanobe Mayumi, lost my appetite because Himeno's story scared me. Manten Aquarium and I are connected in a way that I'd rather not think about. Of course, Himeno has no idea about that connection. If she knew, she'd never mention Manten Aquarium around me again. At the same time, I've been afraid that this thing might cause Himeno to stop talking to me. Himeno's pretty much my only friend. It isn't that I haven't talked to anyone since entering junior high, just that the only person I can actually call a friend is Himeno. Seriously, I think this whole Manten Aquarium rumor obsession is getting to be a bit much. Maybe. There's so many rumors though. Like that there's a man's ghost in the tanks, that the deep sea fish booth is only open on a full moon, that the water changes into blood, or that you can hear crying from behind the tanks. Ah, that earlier one goes with this one, also. No, that's fine. You don't need to say any more, I say firmly, causing Himeno to make a sour face. Soon after, Himeno changes the subject, first to a TV drama that aired the night before, and then to some cute fake nails with cats on them that she found in a magazine. Then she talks about a classmate who was dating a boy from a nearby private school, alighting on one subject before quickly changing to the next. Normally the subject of Manten Aquarium shouldn't have popped up again. Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about earlier. Huh? What exactly are we getting back to? Manten Aquarium. I've looked into it and this Sunday will be a full moon. Huh? That was all I could say, the rest of my words aren't able to come out. So we should go and see if the rumours are true or not. But I know you aren't interested in stuff like urban legends, Mayu, but next week we'll start preparing for the end of the semester and I won't be able to hang out with you. Lately we haven't gone anywhere together, have we? If the full moon was next Sunday, I'm sure Himeno wouldn't have said anything, but I suspect because it happens to be this Sunday, and next week happens to be our exams, she's chosen Manten Aquarium. I know that I'm not hiding my confusion or my hesitation very well. Even so, Himeno turns her carefree grin my way. Since it's an aquarium, even if the rumours aren't true, we can still have fun, right? Well, that's true. Usually anywhere I go with Himeno I have fun. Whether or not we have fun is not what I was worried about. By the way, Mayu, in the east building of Manten Aquarium, they have a Hagen Darts. As in the Eden restaurant? They had closed up at one point, but it looks like they're reopening for a limited time. Really? Really? They have the cookies and cream flavour you like too, Mayu. Of course I hesitate, but in the end that settles it. Then we'll go. As long as we definitely get some cookies and cream. Saying you have no money because you did too much shopping is out of the question. I know. After all, I'm something of a glutton myself. Fine, fine. In the end we settle on Manten Aquarium and ice cream for Sunday. Since I've already received my reward money for moving on to the next grade, I don't need to worry about my allowance. Still, it's been 5 years. Did you say something, Mayu? No, nothing. I bite my tongue, covering the words that carelessly spilled out. I'm looking forward to the aquarium. It's probably been about 10 years. I'm looking forward to the cookies and cream. It's probably been about 10 years. That's not true. It's the truth. That's the only thing I'll eat there. Himeno goes, you little... as she playfully stretches my cheeks. The end of lunch chime sounds and Himeno goes back to her own seat. If it's with Himeno, I'll be fine. That's what I told myself at the time. Well, that doesn't bode well at all. I do like the logo. It's very cool. The transitions are very slow. Sunday is 3 days after that. The day I promised to go with Himeno to Manten Aquarium has arrived. We get to meet at noon at the Manten Cho station. As is customary for me, I arrive 30 minutes early. Leaning against a pillar, I do nothing but space out. Tons of people pass before me. Manten is really crowded on days off. Even so, there aren't really that many families or groups of students, everyone around me appearing to be adults. Because of that, I quickly begin to feel uneasy. Within this crowd, I'm alone. Inexplicably, my head begins to hurt. I wonder if Himeno will be here soon. I mutter to myself, then look at my shoes. Deep blue sandal boots. That were this year's newest product. When Mum and I had stopped off at the department store on Saturday, she bought them for me after some coaxing on my part. They were far from what you call high quality, but they were still a bit pricey on a junior high schooler's allowance. I'm not usually the type to beg, but I couldn't take my eyes off these boots. My mum bought them with almost no resistance, saying, "You're going out of town, you need to look your best." I like both their form and their colour, and found them a better fit for the summer season than anything else. I take my cell phone out and check the time. There are still 15 minutes to go until we're to meet. Since Himeno is always 3 minutes later than the time that we establish, I've got about another 20 minutes. I finish reading my paperback on the train, so I have nothing to kill time with. There's nothing I can do about it, so I decide to keep myself from boredom by watching the people passing by. If I don't keep myself distracted, horrible thoughts will revive in my mind. I'm always worrying about what will happen if I'm late, though. It had actually been about a month and a half since Himeno and I had gone out. We always talked at school, but we rarely spent time together afterwards. Anyone who saw us probably thought we were opposites. Outings like this aside, I often spend my days off at home. When I was in elementary school, our family would go out often, but lately that's been limited to dining out on Saturdays. So when I'm asked to do what I do when I stay at home, I usually just say I do nothing. Doing homework and watching TV is stuff that seems pretty common to me. On the other end of the spectrum is Himeno, who goes out regularly. I often hear stories of when she went to karaoke on weeknights or how she travelled out of town on Sundays. She's a member of an active sports club and often wants to hang out with them afterwards. Going out of town on the already limited days we have off tends to make me think, even though it's a day to rest, I don't feel rested at all. In other words, something like this is a difference between Himeno and I. Without much common ground between us, why we became friends is... Suddenly the light fades from my vision. It wasn't just that it had become dark, but that I had the sensation of being unable to breathe. But rather than sweating it, I get a little mad. Sorry. During my wordless protest, Himeno pulls her hands away. I get playing the who am I game while covering someone's eyes, but covering up someone's mouth too is just like Himeno. You can't play who guess who if you're covering their mouth. Because they can't guess. When I puff out my cheeks and object, Himeno just smiles at me. It's because you were staring into space, Mayu. Instead of apologizing, Himeno blew on the nape of my neck. Without thinking, I made a weird sound. Embarrassed, I look around 2 or 3 times, but the pedestrians walking by seemed unperturbed and didn't even look our way. The culprit who had surprised me moves in front of me before I realise it. You're mean, Himeno. But I got to hear something good. No, you didn't. Moreover, you're... As I say that, I check the time on my smartphone. It's 3 minutes to noon, our agreed upon meeting time. It's not time yet. How rare. That's rude. Jeez. I'll make you make a weird noise again. Saying that, Himeno opens and closes her fingers in small, swift grasping motions. At times like this, I know I had better change the subject, or get messed with by Himeno again. Oh, by the way, did you buy a new one? You mean my necktie? Yes, I did. I thought I should get one to match my shorts. You and I haven't hung out since around midterms, Mayu. If I buy something today, I'll really be out of money. What about the aquarium? We're still set on finding out about the urban legends then. Of course, that's my #1 goal. But as usual, I can't count the things that I want to do on just one hand. Okay, I get it. As long as I eat cookies and cream, that's absolute. I haven't forgotten. Anyway, Mayu, aren't your sandals new? Himeno says that as she looks at my feet, talking about 3 times as fast as she does in class. Yeah, nice, aren't they? They're super cute. How cool, I want a pair too. Nope, they will be too similar. And these are the only pair of sandals I have for the summer. Talking like this, it puts me at ease. Unlike myself, who is childish, Himeno knows a lot about fashion and trends. Even here in Manten, it seems like she blends in. Most importantly, by being with Himeno and constantly chatting, I no longer feel lonely. Oh yeah, Himeno. Why'd you bring such a huge bag? I'm glad you asked. With a hee-hee, Himeno opens the Boston bag she had let sink down from her shoulder. A variety of things come out, such as a flashlight, insect repellent, a simple blanket, a first aid kit, matches, and snacks like chocolate and cookies. What is all this? Himeno, where do you plan on going? Ignoring the twitch developing on my face, Himeno thumps her chest. Geez, to the aquarium. But since we're investigating urban legends, we should at least have some supplies. Rather than an investigation, the equipment she has reminds me more of going camping in the mountains. The snacks and blanket aside, we're in a city this size where we need insect repellent or a flashlight. I keep those feelings to myself and just smile, let out a breath that is half exasperated, half amused. I don't get sick of being with Himeno. Whether Himeno is aware of my exasperated gaze or not, she starts to take something out, then quickly shoves it back in. She gives me a smile, implying some secret. Ah, no wait, it's too soon for you to see that. What were you about to pull out? I'm not telling. Upon saying that, Himeno quickly closes the bag. The way I see it, it is a wonder she fit all the supplies that she had out just a moment ago. I wonder where this is all being stored. By the way, no club today? I ask with the underlying question of whether or not today is a day off for the club. At my question, Himeno averts her eyes. Nope, probably no club today. Really? Giving a brief answer, I start walking. Upon hearing her reply, I immediately understand it as, she skipped it again. But not wanting to ruin the merry mood, I merely quicken the pace. I'm not in any clubs, but even I know it's not good to skip. Speaking honestly, I wanted to show up for her club, as she seems to be respected even by the students from other schools. Coming here together like this makes me equally guilty though. Once I get thinking, I usually don't stop, so this conversation shifts to a ramen shop that catches my eye. Oh, Mayu, do you want to get lunch? Huh? You caught that? Feeling as if she's seen right through me, we head into a nearby coffee shop. It is apparently famous, following its coverage in a magazine for a sandwich that was overflowing with vegetables. I say apparently because, on excitedly finding the restaurant, Himeno shares this. Compared to a hamburger shop, this place is a bit intimidating and trendy to me, but since I'm with Himeno, it doesn't bother me. Shoving the roast chicken sandwich with extra olives that I ordered into my mouth, the unease I've been feeling disappears. In contrast to my fervour, Himeno eats her avocado and shrimp sandwich in small bites. Well then, about our plans for today. Himeno starts in as soon as we finish eating. We'll start with the aquarium, no matter what, that's the main thing. So we'll look into the old man's ghost and the closed off deep sea fish booth rumours. After that we'll go to the shops and finally have some ice cream. I think it's better to get the cookies and cream first. If you eat 2 times you'll mess up your stomach and get fat. You won't be able to wear a bathing suit. Oh, Himeno, it's no fair that you put it that way. It isn't fair. Himeno's in the exercise club so she'll be fine. But for someone like me who doesn't exercise enough, it makes me stop and think. Having said I wanted to go to the pool, that is all the more important. Okay then, we'll stick with my plan. That was a delicious meal. Urged on by Himeno, I decide to leave the ice cream shop for another time. Talking about silly things together, we leave the station behind. As opposed to the station's excellent cooling system, the city streets have a peculiar humidity and heat to them that envelops our bodies. The beginning of July, summer, has only just begun and I can already tell it's going to be a tough one. We weave our way through the crowds until we're 10 minutes away from the station, finally ending up in front of a skyscraper. The building is a symbol for the people of Manten, a combined facility for commerce, what you might call a fashion building in reference to the business it contains. Manten is a town known for a place people go for amusement. If you really want to have a good time, they have a movie theatre, arcades and several shops, but you need to have money. Because of that, young men and women are more numerous than boys and girls. In this town of people older than us, Himeno scans the panels for each floor without fear, saying, the aquarium is... People are concentrated around the panels. Of little help to Himeno, and trying to take up as little space as possible, I leave the search to her and gaze up at the building. I look up and up, but the top of the building is so far I think my neck will snap. That is magnificent. The building was built not long after I was born. It had been finished before I could walk, but the first and only time I came here was in elementary school. The instant I think back to my first visit, my head begins to hurt. Okay, so she's got repressed memories or something. No, I have to try not think about it. Those things are from long ago. Things from the past. Things that are done. I can do nothing but deal with the pain that feels as if something is pressing against the inside of my skull. I finally hear Himeno calling me in a loud voice. The elevator's this way, come on. I push away my headache and step through the automatic door. The information at the entrance and the placement of the crane game are exactly the same as that day, giving me a slightly bad feeling. That was badass. That was a great song too, like it. From the elevator landing, we need to head to the top floor of the separate Manten East building. The elevator is the type that has a glass window, so you can see out. It's the only thing distracting me from my gloom. A crowd of people get on with us, but almost all of them are gone by the time we reach the floor that contains the aquarium. They probably stopped off at the apparel or sundry shops. It isn't what we're interested in, but Himeno recommends it's crowded now, so let's come back when it's less busy. And that keeps us back, deciding to stick with the plans we made back at the coffee shop. I feel like these slow transitions are drawing out the playtime. Stepping onto the floor, the atmosphere immediately switches to a lively one. The sounds of chatter are drowned out by the roar of a large fan. The lighting is dim and tinted slightly blue. The windows are also covered, giving the feeling that it has suddenly become night. As this is an aquarium, it makes sense that the concept is based around the ocean. Yes, the pungent smell of salt is a major change. Amazing. It's like we dived into the deep sea. That's what I thought too, instead of being targeted at families. Lately it seems more like a date spot for adults, or at least that's what the magazine said. But it's true. Even though this is my second time coming here, it feels like the first time. Next to the entrance is a souvenir shop. Though it lacks the usual boisterous voices, it appears to be a place that can be reached both from the inside and outside. But it doesn't seem to get many customers. Just as Himeno had said, the aquarium seems to target adults. In an atmosphere like that, even Himeno looks nervous. Hey Mayu, what's up? I forgot to tell you one important thing. Himeno makes a mysterious face and brings her mouth up to my ear. What, did you drop your wallet or something? No, that's not it. This is something that I heard that's a bit of an urban legend, but they say the amount of people going missing is on the rise. There's a rumour that this month alone the number of missing went well into the double digits. Huh? We had this conversation in front of the metal rack that holds the map of the aquarium. Aside from the map, there is a guide to Manten East building and information about affiliated hotels. During that time we hear the sound of the elevator opening and closing but do not see the people going into the aquarium. Manten used to be a shopping district, right? That seems to be why, even if there were a lot of runaways, the media wouldn't pay much attention. But supposedly many of the missing persons had stopped off at Manten Aquarium. That rumour, who'd you hear it from? No, indeed. No one in particular. You know how rumours spread. At Himeno's word, I feel a cold shiver along my spine. Regardless of how credible the rumour is, a sense of dread shoots through me. Considering my past, it's natural that I would feel connected to missing persons in my age range, especially if they're runaways. If that is the case, it would send chills along the back of my neck. Why on earth? You could have told me But before this, well, I thought if you heard about it, Mayu, you might not have wanted to come. Oh, so you're forgetting to tell me it was a lie then, you little... I'd intended to protest firmly, but it still ended rather anticlimactically. Ghosts may exist, and they still may be unable to come back, but that doesn't mean I'm interested in visiting places where they are. This is proof that Himeno has her own strange interests, yet it still makes me feel even more worried. This rumour has a continuation. Specifically, people who saw the deep-sea fish booth never came home. Himeno relays those 2 pieces of information that frightened me with a smile. The rumour itself aside, she once wanted to pass over the question of why people were able to see the closed-off deep-sea fish booth in the first place, not wanting to discuss it all. Wait a minute, Himeno. Something else is tied in beneath that fear. Something about the aquarium and the missing persons who didn't come home. That was essentially... Are you okay, Mayu? Sorry, I guess I scared you a little bit too much. I think the story's pretty exaggerated, so don't worry about it. I heard it's a fun aquarium. I think we should take those stories with a grain of salt, right? Though her kindness is misdirected, its kindness just the same. Having involuntarily sat down, I take the hand Himeno extends to me. As I slowly rise to my feet, I respond, yeah, you're right. To think that I would hear of a connection to my precious memory in a place like this. It's strange. After 5 years, the memory should have faded. I tell myself this, and let out a small sigh. Himeno is actually showing concern, so I sit down on the bench in the rest area, next to the souvenir shop. Himeno even brings me a can of cocoa. As I'm drinking it, she buys our tickets. With her doing all of this, I have to go with her. You okay, miss? The fact that I'm thinking thoughts like, this canned cocoa is a little weak, is proof that I'm cooling down. As I'm starting to feel better, a male voice calls out to me. While holding my half-finished cocoa, I turn in the direction the voice came from. Rather than the boy's voice I expected, it belongs to an adult, so I respond timidly. I'm okay, so... no need to be so vigilant. He's wearing a grey knit cap and a brown running shirt. He's tall, even for a guy, so I have to look up at him. His build is almost all muscle, and my shoulders shudder a bit in surprise. He appears well over the age of 20, so I can't think of a reason that he'd want to talk to us. Whether he realises I'm looking up at him or not, he plunks down right next to me. Even after he sits down, we aren't sitting at the same height. Pretending to fix my posture, I move away from him a little. Are you not feeling well? Oh look, a saving point. Can I not just save there? Save. I don't like quick save, I like regular save. I'm fine, really. Thanks to my nerves and weariness, I end up speaking unnaturally fast. Moreover, if he really is a kind person, I might end up abusing his good intentions. How cold. Nah, it figures. I say it again without thinking. Without my knowing what he's so happy about. The man's mouth looses into a grin. You're pretty clever, I give up. But you know, I seriously am worried about you. Your face is pale and all. His kind words taking me by surprise, I inadvertently avert my eyes. For some reason I become strangely embarrassed, and begin tapping my index finger on my can of cocoa. Well, that aside, since you came to have fun, let me show you around. We are really just fine. The words came out so naturally that they surprise even me. I have now become a complete idiot, and my eyes meet his. I work part-time in this building, so I'm familiar with it. This area, that is. Hey, what are you doing? Himeno. I gasp and look up. Himeno is there carrying 2 tickets and some pamphlets. With her hands on her hips and her cheeks puffed out, Himeno glares at the man with narrowed eyes. I think the only one allowed to hit on junior high schoolers would be high schoolers. No, I'm not trying to hit on anyone. This girl just looked unwell is all. Mayu, what happened? I guess I'll save again. I'm used to saving every time there's a choice, but it looks like that might happen often. Was it hitting on someone? I don't think so. Was it hitting on someone? I turn to the man and tilt my head. Since Himeno is calm, I've relaxed a bit and can look him in the eyes. You're asking me that? So that was what you were doing? Himeno says that in an exasperated voice in my place. She says, you're the worst, and grabs my arm, pulling me to her side. The man rests his elbows on his knees and shrugs. He punctuates the shrug with a sigh. Mayu, let's go. And hey, mister. Himeno mutters, facing the man's chest. I'm hearing her say mister, and giving me a puzzled look. The man shows us the plastic name tag hanging around his neck. Ah, I must have forgotten to take this off. Himeno, speaking of which, you did say he works part-time in this building. Ah, Then is that his entry card or something? He slaps his knees and rises to his feet. He probably played some kind of sport or something because his movement as he stands looks so effortless. I'm Hiyoshi Kenji. I work part-time at the shop downstairs. With this entry card, I can get into Manten Aquarium with a discount. Is it a company employee discount? Something like that. I'm not exactly a company employee, but I get in half off anyway, so I come here often. Really? That's quite unexpected for you, mister. When you become older, you'll crave these soothing experiences as well. And I'm not old enough to be a mister. Now he says it. Compared to us, you're definitely old enough to be a mister. Yoshi-san grimaces angrily, and then sniffs in a self-deprecating manner. He appears to be a little older than a college student, so calling him old enough to be a mister is probably rude, but Himeno only said the impression he gave was pretty close. With the aquarium as a shared point of interest, Himeno's attitude towards Hiyoshi-san softens. As proof, Himeno talks with Hiyoshi-san about the shops in the building. I don't really know a lot about brands, so I sip my remaining cocoa and listen from the outside. My iced cocoa has become lukewarm cocoa. Well, mister, are you also well versed in urban legends? On hearing Himeno's question, my head pops up in surprise. The corners of Hiyoshi-san's mouth lift into a grin. That's rather unexpected for you as well. So you're interested in such things? Of course I am. You're only young once. You have to satisfy your curiosity. We're looking into the closed-down deep-sea fish booth. There's a rumor that it's open on the day of the full moon. Do you know anything about it? Hiyoshi-san places his hands on his chin and looks down, grunting loudly. He glances at me, looks over at the entrance, and finally turns to Himeno and opens his mouth. I think you need to give up on that one. Naturally, since I'm a regular here, I often hear rumors like there are spirits floating in the tanks, or every time a person dies, the jellyfish tank increases by 1 and so on. Himeno-chan, the story you mentioned shouldn't be anything more than one of those rumors, but stop dancing around it, just tell me. Previously I knew someone who went looking into this, just as you girls are doing now, Himeno-chan. He went missing soon after. Missing? Without thinking about it, I joined their conversation. If someone has gone missing here at Manten Aquarium, it holds significance for me as well. Is that for real? He glanced back in surprise. Himeno is still looking at him with doubt in his eyes. Hiyoshi-san listens to what Himeno said, and with a playful smile responds, "Just kidding, it's a lie." I wonder if it is a lie. Because of the words he muttered, my curiosity has been piqued. I couldn't imagine the tense face he made as he told the story of an acquaintance who went missing being faked. That's right, but if that's the case, then this really might interest you, Mayu. I've thought from the beginning that it would be better just to give up. No way, I've already bought the tickets anyway. Himeno's face shows that she's enjoying herself to the end, and she takes my arm to gently pull me closer to her. That was the signal that she was ready to go, and in my mind I prayed that nothing would happen. Well then, want to walk around with me? Hiyoshi-san calls out to Himeno, who has said later, but it's me rather than Himeno who hears him and spins around first, so I make eye contact with Hiyoshi-san and say, "We're out of time for this one. We're gonna wrap this episode up here." That's what I say to Himeno-san. You have to wait till next time, sorry. Getting strong Ever 17 vibes, but that's probably because that's also set in like an aquarium type thing. I don't know if they have any relation, but interesting. There's a lot of choices coming in. I don't know how much of them actually affect anything, but I guess we'll find that out later. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.